I'm just wondering how subs and support teachers and staff who aren't necessarily tied to one school will play into learning groups and cohorts. So, for instance, if a teacher gets sick, how will a substitute teacher join that school for one day and then possibly go to another school the next day?
Yeah. So occupational health and safety committees have been working within districts around TTOC, substitute teacher guidelines. The number one strategy around a substitute teacher who might appear in front of a class for only one day is that they should maintain physical distancing. They don't technically become part of a learning group. For somebody on a longer assignment, they would become part of that student's learning group. I am aware that in consultation with local teachers associations in Vancouver School Board, they have created their own local guidelines around having quadrants of schools. So teachers would pick a limited number of schools where they would perform substitute teaching duties. So we expect to see similar local guidelines developed with their teachers associations, but the guidelines that were issued by the PHO and the ministry do have very specific recommendations around how TTOCs have to be a little bit different in terms of how they interact with schools.
Do you have a follow-up, Shrishti?
Yeah, and so you said there are protocols if someone gets sick. Can you go into what those are?
Right. So if somebody is presenting symptoms, they would be isolated in a school. They would be only interacted by a limited number of people who are wearing a PPE. The individual suspected of having maybe COVID-like symptoms would wear a mask. They would go home immediately or as soon as possible to self-isolate and monitor themselves, and then if required, based on public health's involvement, there might be testing confirmations, there might be a series of steps. If it was determined to be a potential exposure event, that's when the investigation would take its course and determine where that individual was, who they might have been in close contact with, and all those sorts of things.